Here at the legendary Victory Lane Speedway. We've got a great night of racing ahead of us. Dan, what's coming up tonight?
We've got 6 classes of racing for y'all tonight, starting with our MRC Colden Welding Mid-Canada Stock Cars. Following that, we'll have the Wissota Midwest Mods, brought to you by Big Smoke Barbecue. Then we've got our Wissota Modifieds, followed by the Super Trucks, and then the Mid-Canada Limited Late Models. And then finally, we're going to wrap up the evening with the 4-cylinder cars, which you just saw out there doing the hot laps. Thank you to our game day sponsor, race day sponsor, Simply Septic. You can see them for all your septic needs. Go to simplyseptic.ca for service across southern Manitoba.
Thank you, everybody. All right, folks, we're going to get things underway with Heat Race 1 of 2 for the MRC Colden Welding Mid-Canada Stock Cars. There's 9 vehicles scheduled for this one. Here's your projected starting lineup. All by himself in row number 5, Dale Guild in the 107 out of Brandon, Manitoba. On the outside of row 4 is Jeff Kopp driving the 47 out of Oakbank. Caden LeButte's on the inside driving the 17K from Winnipeg. Justin Krause is on the outside of row 3 driving the 207 out of Richer. Dave Rogers is on the inside driving the 45 from Winnipeg. On the outside of row 2, Michael Kopp driving the 46 from Oakbank. Logan McDonald in the 8 Junior from Keewatin, Ontario is on the inside. And in your front row on the outside, Ryan Mayman driving the 23R from Winnipeg. And also from Winnipeg on the inside, the 96 of Sean Perdonic.
And be sure to stop by our concession and pick up, new this week, a cookie ice cream sandwiches. Those are chocolate chip cookies, vanilla ice cream with sprinkles. Delicious.
Six laps on the board here for the first race of the night. Michael Kopp took the slingshot outside around Sean Perdonic for the lead. Let's see if Perdonic will challenge him for that. Those two sideswipe, and in the meantime, look at that coming on the inside, the 45 of Dave Rogers. What a battle for second we have right now. Caden LeButte has it for the moment. But here comes Perdonic on the inside. All right, folks, how about it? Here's your winner, the 45 of Dave Rogers.
In second place, number 96, Sean Perdonic, and rounding out third, 17K, Caden LeButte.
Here at the end of each heat, your top 3 in this case, Rogers, Perdonic, and LeButte will all head to the appraisalpro.ca scale. In this division, they need to weigh a minimum of 3,200 pounds. Go ahead, Dan.
All right, heading on to the track right now, we've got Heat 2 of the MRC Calden Welding Mid-Canada Stock Cars. Starting in row 4 on the outside, number 927X, Taylor Christian from Richer, Manitoba. On the inside of that row, we've got number 16, Tobin Keith. On the outside of row 3, number 16T, Adam Turner from Marchand, Manitoba. In the inside of that row, number 91, Morgan McDonald. Outside of row 2, number 3SR, Bryson McDonald from Kenora, Ontario. And in front row, number 62, Jason Braun from West St. Paul. And number 1, Evan Marchand from Niverville.
Bronx off to a good start, building a bit of a lead over the rest of the field. Continues to pull away, but we got a good battle for second going on between Marchand and McDonald in the 3. Well, he made that look pretty easy. Let's hear it for him, folks. Jason Brock.
In second place, the 3SR car, Bryson McDonald. And in third, Morgan McDonald, number 91.
We'll get your top 3 onto the appraisalpro.ca scale, and while they get weighed, coming on track now, the first of 3 heat races for the Midwest Mods by Big Smoke Barbecue. 7 vehicles scheduled for Heat Race 1. Here's your projected starting lineup. All by himself in row number 4, Dustin Alcock driving the 177 out of Keewatin, Ontario. On the outside of row 3, fittingly enough, the 33A of Austin Overwater from Winkler. Memphis Clausen from Winkler's on the inside, driving the 47K. Victoria Stutsky's on the outside of row 2, driving the 24 out of St. Andrews. Paul Vierton, the 88, is on the inside. He's out of Winnipeg. Also from Winnipeg, on the outside of row number 1, the 14B of Edward Bell. And on the inside, Camille Mulholland, driving the 171M, also out of Winnipeg. Great battle between Clausen in the 47 and Edward Bell in the 14 for the lead. These two might trade this lead back and forth. All right, folks, here's your winner, Memphis Clausen.
And in second place, Austin Overwater, and rounding out third goes to Victoria Stutsky.
We'll get your top three from this race all onto the appraisalpro.ca scale. Here in this division, the Midwest Mods by Big Smoke Barbecue, they must weigh a minimum of 2,625 pounds.
All right, making their way onto the track now, we've got Heat 2 of the Wissota Midwest Mods, brought to you by Big Smoke Barbecue. Starting in the fourth row, all by himself, Nick Audette from St. Adolphe, Manitoba. In the outside of the third row, we've got number 15M, Glenn Manning from Oakbank. Next to him, in the 24 junior car, Rebecca Stutsky from St. Andrews, Manitoba. In the second row, we've got Kennedy Basquier, number 51 from Swan River. And next to him, we've got Maddox Clausen from Winkler, Manitoba, number 47. And in the first row, number 2 spot, we have the number 83X car, driven by Garrick Veldeman from Carmen, Manitoba. And number 1, we have the number 15, Nick Basquier from Swan River.
And folks, doing tonight's 50-50 is the U of M Society of Automotive Engineers. They're a team of students that fully design and manufacture vehicles to compete internationally. There are 4 teams: Formula IC, Formula Electric, Aero, and Baja. Find them in their black shirts and the orange buckets. You can't miss them. Nick Basquier in the 15 off to an awfully good start there. Great battle for second as well between Clausen and Audette and Manning. things are getting interesting. For the moment, your new leader, Maddox Clausen, Will Bastier, give him a fight for that. Let's see. 1 lap and some change to go. All right, folks, make some noise for Maddox Clausen.
In second, number 15, Nick Basquier, and in third, 15M, Glenn Manning.
Once again, we'll get your top 3 onto the appraisalpro.ca scale. And while they do that, here comes heat race number 3 for the Midwest Mods by Big Smoke Barbecue. 6 vehicles scheduled for this one. Here's your projected starting lineup. On the outside of row number 3, the 77X of Dylan McCoggan out of St. Francois Xavier. On the inside, the 54 driven by Lance Rell from Winnipeg. On the outside of row number 2 is Dave Kane from Corcoran, Minnesota, driving the 88C. On the inside, the 72R of Ryan Veldman from Lorette. And in row number 1, on the outside, is Austin Hunter driving the 44 out of Winnipeg. And on the inside, Lindsay DeRoche, also from Winnipeg, driving number 14. So far for Dylan McCoggan, started in row 3, basically last place. Now he has the lead over the 44 of Austin Hunter. All right, folks, he would not be denied this race. Let's hear it for Dylan McCoggan.
In second place, we have Austin Hunter, and in third, Dave Kane. And we'll get those over to the appraisalpro.ca scale. And move on to the Wissota Modifieds. Only one heat for this class, 8 laps. Starting in the 5th row, all by himself, Blake Ferris from Emo, Ontario. And moving up to row 4 on the outside, Brody Strachan from Devlin, Ontario. Next to him, we have Sean Tunis from Stony Mountain, Manitoba. In the 3rd row on the outside, we've got Tevin Palico from Tyndall, Manitoba. Next to him, number 7, Ricky Weiss from Headingley. Moving up to row 2 on the outside, number 71, Nico Voss from Sarto, Manitoba. And next to him on the inside, number 4B, Brandon Rehill from St. Andrews. And in the 1st row on the outside, we've got number 5G, Scott Greer from Winnipeg. And in the 1st spot, number 1R, Rick Delane from Stony Mountain.
Looks like Rehill was a bit late getting onto the track. He'll wait and get his spot in line here. So far tonight, but right behind him, staying with him in those corners, Greer and Delaney. To make a move on Weiss, has the lead for now. Can he hold it? Coming out of turn number 4. Looks like he will. Let's hear it for Scott Greer, everybody.
In 2nd place, number 7, Ricky Weiss, and running out 3rd, number 1, Rick Delane.
All to the appraisalpro.ca scale. In this division, the Wissota Modifieds, they must weigh a minimum of 2,400 pounds. While they get that taken care of, coming on track now, heat race number 1 for the Super Trucks. 6 trucks scheduled for this heat race. Here's your projected starting lineup. On the outside of row number 3, the number 2 of Chris Audette from St. Adolphe. Kyle Swafers on the inside, driving the 10 from Winnipeg. Row number 2 on the outside, the 57, driven by Tyler Tukonchuk out of Fanistel, Manitoba. Rob Reese in the 44 is on the inside. He's coming to us out of Manitoba, Manitoba. And in your front row on the outside, the 22 of Derek Sorello from Richer. And on the inside, the number 3 driven by Jason Somack from West St. Paul. Reese and Audette duking it out here at the front of the pack, as those two did last year. When Reese won the division, Audette placed in second. Let's see what they got in store for us in 26. All right, folks, make some noise for Mr. Consistency, Chris Audette.
In second place, number 44, Rob Reese, and in third, number 57, Tyler Tkachuk. So we'll get those top three over to the appraisalpro.ca scale to be weighed. And in the meantime, the second heat will be coming out on the track now. We've got 6 racers in this heat. Starting on the outside of the third row, number 20, Mercedes Kraus from St. Adolphe, Manitoba. On the inside of row 3, we've got number 55, Lars Voss from Grunthal. Ahead of them, on the outside of row 2, we've got number 13, Hayden Veldman from Carmen. Next to him, we've got Taylor Audette from St. Adolphe, Manitoba. And in the first row on the outside, Hayden Audette, also from St. Adolphe. And in the number 1 spot, Dan Klim from Dougald, Manitoba.
If you're new here, folks, Carl with the rolled up green flag means he'll give him one more pass before we go green. 6 laps here in heat race number 2 for the Super Trucks. Audette and Klim side by side heading into turns 3 and 4. Who's going to get the better of this? All right, folks, here's your winner, Hayden Audette.
In second place, number 13, Hayden Veldman, and in third, number 38, Dan Klim.
Your top 3 will make their way onto the appraisalpro.ca scale once again. While they do that, here comes the Mid-Canada Limited Late Models for their heat race of the evening. 6 vehicles in this one. Here's your projected starting lineup. On the outside of row 3, the 48s, driven by Rebecca Stutsky from St. Andrews. Brandon Rehill driving the 24s on the inside, also out of St. Andrews. Paul Beard is on the outside of row 2, driving the 88 out of Winnipeg. Victoria Stutsky's on the inside, driving the 00 from St. Andrews. And in your front row, Jared Kaliniak driving the 96 out of Marquette's on the outside. And on the inside is the 97, driven by Braxton Roll from Headingley, Manitoba. Great move on the inside of turns 3 and 4 to take the lead. See if he can hold on for 3.5 left. How about it, folks? Here's your winner, the 88, Paul Beers.
In second place, we have Brandon Rehill, and in third, Braxton Roll. All right, we'll get those top three over to the appraisalpro.ca scale. And coming onto the track now, we have the 4 cylinders. 2 heats in this category, starting with heat 1. On the outside of row 3, number 98, Emma Nelson from St. Malo, Manitoba. Next to her, we have number 13M, Taylor Strong McCauley from Mitchell, Manitoba. In row 2 on the outside, we have number 4A, Anthony Bailey from West Pine Ridge, Manitoba. Next to him, from Keewatin, Ontario, we have number 21, Courtney Alcock. And in the first row on the outside, we have number 71, Maddock Mulholland from Winnipeg. And in the number 1 spot, 88, Dustin Wauk, also from Winnipeg.
All right, folks, coming out of turn 4, here's your winner, Dustin Wauk.
In second place, Maddock Mulholland, and in third, Taylor Strong McCauley.
Coming on track right now, folks, heat race number 2 for the 4 cylinders. Just 5 scheduled for this one. Here's your projected starting lineup. All by himself in row number 3, Alex Farr driving the 25 out of Landmark. On the outside of row number 2 is Robin Knapp driving the 22K out of Balmoral, Manitoba. Kiana Edison's on the inside of row 2. She's driving the 177 out of Kenora, Ontario. On the outside of row 1, Elijah Wall driving the 55 from Crystal City. And on the inside, the 24 driven by Will Alcock from Kenora, Ontario. Farr gets the white flag, and we've had a black flag in this race. That one directed to Robin Knapp in the 22K for leaking fuel onto the track. All right, folks, here's your winner, the 25 of Alex Farr.
In second place, Will Alcock, and rounding out third, Elijah Wall.
All right, folks, that's going to do it for now. This is the start of our intermission. And tonight, since we're running 6 classes, please be aware we are only doing 10 minutes, 10-minute intermission today. With that in mind, stock car drivers, please make your way to the pits for the start of the stock car feature just before 8 o'clock. And kids, stick around during intermission for the Roll Project's candy toss at the flag stand right where Carl's standing. Otherwise, we'll see you guys in about 10 minutes. Right now at the front of the pack, right behind him, Christian in the 927X and McDonald in the 91. Bronk won his heat earlier. He's sitting just behind him, fourth. Christian making a move on the outside, but will it pay off? Rogers goes outside. Oh, hits the wall. New leader, the 927X and Taylor Christian. Can he hold off Rogers, though? Looks like the 46 of Michael Kopp exited the track right at the top of turn number 1. Not sure if he can get that moving under his own power. We'll find out soon enough. And I look to my left and see Jason Bronk and Sean Perdonic facing the wrong way, turning around. What an eventful lap we just had, folks. If you didn't hear me, Michael Kopp left the track. Looks like he's going to rejoin. Either rejoining or going to head to the pits right now. The end of turn 2, let's see. Yeah, he'll be going to the pits. Just going to get the lineup sorted out, but we'll be back to the green flag. 8 laps left here in the MRC Colden Welding Mid-Canada Stock Car Feature. This is also the first race, folks, of the Prairie Shield Cup Challenge, our partnership with Lake of the Woods Speedway at Kenora, Ontario. A bunch of these drivers will be competing at both of these tracks to see who will come home the champion. This division is a part of that, the MRC Colden Welding Mid-Canada Stock Cars, along with the Wissota Modifieds by Big Smoke Barbecue, as well as our 4-cylinders. Once again, we'd like to thank our race day sponsor, Simply Septic. For them, it's about more than just providing a service. It's about being part of the community. From homeowners to businesses, they're here to keep things running smoothly with a focus on quality, integrity, and personalized service. Great battle for the lead between Christian and Rogers. Looks like we're going to pick up right where we left off. Meanwhile, Morgan McDonald holding up the rest of the pack. His bumper's dragging on the dirt. Morgan McDonald exits the track. I believe that caution was here on the 37B of Barry Bennett from Laclou, Ontario. Perfect timing for Morgan McDonald in the 91 to rejoin the field as we will start racing. Look at the hood of the 927X at Taylor Christian. That could prove an issue. That's a safety issue right there. We've thrown the yellow. We'll try to get that fixed and get back to racing. Yeah, there's a solution to that problem. All right, off we go. All right, folks, let's see what happens in the last half of this one. 8 laps on the board. Great battle for second. Right now, Dave Rogers has it in the 45. Bryson McDonald just behind in the 3. Perdonic and Gronk right there in the mix as well. Perdonic just tagged the barrier. Slow down a bit. Meanwhile, the number 8. Logan McDonald from Keewatin, Ontario. I didn't see what happened, but I see the caution will be on the number 8. He might be heading to the pits as well. Unfortunately, Sean Perdonic following him over to the pits. Perdonic was battling for second place there. If you're new here, folks, that pylon here on the front straightaway means we'll be doing a single file restart. No one is allowed to pass till they get by that cone. Our race director, Daryl, just getting the lineup sorted out, and we'll be back to the green flag. 6 laps left in the MRC Calden Welding Mid-Canada Stock Car Feature. Now that was one short pit stop for the 96 of Sean Perdonic. He'll be rejoining the lineup. back of Dave Rogers in the 45. That's something to keep an eye on as well. All right, folks, that was a battle of attrition. Let's hear it for your winner, Taylor Christian.
And in second place, we have number 45, Dave Rogers, and in third, Jason Bronk, number 62. Now, kids, just so you guys know, we're going to be skipping the interviews for now. We're going to move on to the next race, so kids can go sit down. We won't be doing the trophy giveaway quite yet. We'll come back at the end of the night to do it.
And once again, for the MRC Calden Welding Mid-Canada stock cars, on the appraisalpro.ca scale, they need to weigh a minimum of 3,200 pounds. Moving right along, folks, time for the Wissota Midwest Mods by Big Smoke Barbecue feature. 20 vehicles scheduled for this one. Here's your projected starting lineup. On the outside of row number 10, Kennedy Basquiat in the 51. Camilla Mulholland is on the inside, driving the 171M. Lance Ralph in the 54 is on the outside of row number 9. The 24 junior of Rebecca Stutsky is on the inside. Dustin Alcock's on the outside of row number 8, driving the 177. The 72R of Ryan Veldman's on the inside of row 8. On the outside of row number 7, the 83X, driven by Garrett Veldman. Edward Bell in the 14B is on the inside of that row. On the outside of row number 6 is the 14, driven by Lindsay DeRoche. Nick Audette's on the inside, driving the number 20. Then we have Paul Veert in the 88 on the outside of row 5. Maddox Clausen in the M47 on the inside. Row 4 on the outside, the 47K of Memphis Clausen. Victoria Stutsky is on the inside. Victoria's out of St. Andrews, Manitoba, driving the 24. Dylan McGoggin from St. Francois Xavier is on the outside of row 3. He's driving the 77X. Austin Hunter is on the inside of row number 3, driving the 44 out of Winnipeg. Glenn Manning's on the outside of row number 2, driving the 15M from Oakbank. Austin Overwater's on the inside of that row, driving the 33A out of Winnipeg. And in your front row on the outside is Nick Basquiat, driving the 15 from Swan River. And on the inside, Dave Kane from Corcoran, Minnesota, driving the 88C. start for Paul Beer to the 88, excuse me. Austin Overwater to 33A just behind him. Oh, look at the hood of Overwater. How can he see a thing out of that? Can he get that fixed? Or tear it up? One of the tires there between turns 3 and 4 was knocked out of position. We're just going to get that sorted out. And while we take this caution, I'm assuming Overwater is coming here to have his hood either fixed or just torn off like we saw in the last race. Paul Veert was looking good in the first 5 laps of this one. Let's see what he can do with 10 to go. We have for the lead, folks, between Paul Beard in the 88 and McCoggin in the 77. I could watch these two race each other all night. Mia Mulholland in the 171 who just pulled into the infield. Not sure what the reason for the caution was, though, looking around. Looks like there's a bit of debris there right in the middle of turn number 2. We'll get that cleared away and we'll get back to racing. If you couldn't hear me while we were live, we had an intense battle for the lead between Paul Bearden in the 88 and Dylan McCoggan in the 77. 4 to go, any one of those two. Well, let's see what Memphis, right behind them, Memphis Clausen can do as well. This is going to get interesting, folks, with 4 to go. All right, folks, single file restart with 4 laps to go. All right, folks, make some noise for your winner, Paul Bearden. My mistake, folks. That was Dave Kane who won that. Also, he's driving the 88C. Paul Bearden, the 88.
And in second place, we have Dylan McCoggan, and in third, Austin Overwater. And again, we're going to skip the trophy giveaway, kids, so you can go sit back down. Not going to do that yet. We're going to move on to the Wissota Modifieds. 9 entries in this race, in this feature. Starting with row 5, number 71, Nico Voss. On the outside of row 4, number 4B, Brandon Rehill. Next to him, we have 18P, Tevin Politko. On the outside of row 3, we have number 95, Brody Strachan. Next to him, we have number 7, Ricky Weiss. And on the outside of row 2, number 39, Sean Tunis. And the inside of row 2, we have number 1R, Rick Delane. And in the first row, on the outside, we have 14F, Blake Ferris. Next to him, on the inside of row 1, we have Scott Greer.
Scott Greer in the Wendy-sponsored 5G. Brandon Rehill facing the wrong way. Oh, boy. Not sure why he didn't go straight into the infield there. That was dangerous. Brandon Rehill in the 4B.
And while we've got this caution, I just want to let you guys know we have 2-for-1 special going on in our concession. Popcorn and pulled pork sandwiches on sale. 2-for-1 right now.
That's the 39 of Sean Tunis right in front of the flag stand here, just needing a bit of TLC on that car. Let's see if it'll look the same when the track officials are done with it. right where they left off in the heat. Can't really hold them off. Those two side by side coming into turn number 3. Boys making a move to the inside. Two to go. Oh no, the 71. Nico Voss. Let's see, we might have a checkered flag. Oh, maybe not. Oh, we're going to give it one more lap. Nico Voss facing the wrong way. Turns 3 and 4. Going to add another lap on the board, folks, for a green-white checkered finish. Folks, if you can hear me out there, make some noise for your winner, Ricky Watts. In second place, the 5G driven by Scott Greer. Rounding out third, Blake Ferris in the 14F.
Hello, everybody. We're going to do our 50-50 real quick because we're not doing any trophy presentations based on the weather. Winner takes home $557 yet again, almost the same and exact number as last week. The University of Manitoba will say a couple of quick words.
Once again, thanks everybody for coming out. Really appreciate the support. And yeah, let's get it going.
Okay, he'll pick the winning ticket. It is a red ticket, number 862443. Red ticket, 862443. If you have the winning ticket, meet me at the vendor. Okay, if the winner doesn't come forward, we will post it on the website for the winner to claim it, okay? So again, 862443, red ticket.
All right, back up to you, Wells.
Thank you, Dan. All right, folks, you can see him on track now. Time for the Super Truck feature. 15 laps on the board for this one, 12 trucks in the race. Here's your projected starting lineup. On the outside of row 6, Lars Voss in the 55 out of Grunthal. On the inside, Derek Sorello from Richards driving the number 22. On the outside of row 5, Mercedes Krause driving the number 20 from St. Adolphe. Jason Somack in the 3 is on the inside out of West St. Paul, Manitoba. On the outside of row 4 is the 27 driven by Hayden Audette from St. Adolphe. Kyle Swaffer's on the inside driving the number 10 from Winnipeg. Chris Audette is on the outside of row number 3 driving the 2 from St. Adolphe. Dan Klim's on the inside driving the 38 out of Dugald, Manitoba. And row number 2 on the outside, the number 44, driven by Rob Reese from Minnedosa. Hayden Veldman in the 13 is on the inside from Carmen, Manitoba. And in your front row on the outside, the number 9 of Taylor Audette from St. Adolphe. And on the inside, the 57, driven by Tyler Takacha from Fanistel, Manitoba. Tyler Tkachuk off to a good start, but he's got lots of heavy hitters behind him and plenty of time left in this one. That's Mercedes Grouse facing the wrong way right between turns 3 and 4, bringing out the yellow flag. Nine laps on the board, folks. Good news for Chris Audette. He was in 5th just a couple laps ago. Now he's fighting Reese for 2nd. They're right behind Tkachuk for the lead. That's the 13 of Hayden Veldman, who got into some trouble, bringing out the yellow this time. And while we have some time, folks, just want to remind you, for a limited time, while supplies last, going down to the concessions and get your 2-for-1 popcorn and pulled pork. Mercedes Kraus in the 20, who caused that caution. Not sure the state of her vehicle. We'll see if she'll rejoin the race or head to the pits. Well, as that's the second caution for number 20, that's essentially a black flag. We've sent that vehicle to the pits. Audette now looking to make a move on Tkachuk. Taking the inside. He has it for now, but Tkachuk might have the edge with the extra speed. They are neck and neck coming into turn number 1. Doesn't get much closer than that, folks. Who wants it more? Oh, something happened there. Tkachuk hit the brakes, it looked like, giving Audette the lead. Well, he did it again, folks. Let's hear it for your winner, Chris Audette.
And in second place, number 57, Tyler Tkachuk. Rounding out third, number 44, Rob Reese. Next to him, we have Jared Kaliniuk from Marquette, number 96. And in the first row, we have number 88, Paul Veert from Winnipeg, and number 24, Brandon Rehill from St. Andrews. I want to ask him, why is
Carl's going to give him one more go-around before we get the green flag. 15 laps, folks, here for the Mid-Canada Limited Late Model Feature. That's the 97 Braxton roll. Lost it right in between turns 3 and 4. like Paul Beard wanted to make a move on Rehill. He might get a chance this turn. And your new leader, Paul Beard, halfway home, just about halfway home, about 8.5 to go. Slow down to basically a crawl. Yeah, the 24 exiting the track, heading to the pits. Unfortunate for Brandon. Folks, make some noise for your winner, Paul Beard. Right behind him, finishing in second, the 96 of Jared Kaliniak. Waiting on third, there we go, third place, the 00 of Victoria Stutsky. All right, Dan, over to you.
All right, thanks, guys. Let them go by. Before we move on to the 4 cylinders, I'm here with Taylor Christian, winner of the stock car, the first feature of the night. Taylor, congratulations on your win. How you feeling?
I'm feeling on top of the world.
So how long have you been racing for?
This will be my second year.
Second year racing? Is this your first win?
This is my first win. Never thought I'd be standing here.
That's awesome. Congratulations. It must feel so good, eh?
Yeah, it feels fantastic.
Well, congratulations. That's awesome. Hopefully it's not your last one. You'll be back here next week doing it again.
Yeah, I sure hope so, yeah.
Thank you so much. Do you want to hand out a trophy? Ollie, you want to give him a trophy to hand out to one of our kids here? There we go. Easy as that. Thank you so much, everybody, and on to the 4 cylinders. Do another one? We've also got Chris Odette here, winner of the Super Trucks. Chris, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing fantastic.
Congrats. Now, this was an interesting one. Like, you were behind the pack for a bit. You were about 5th place, and you slowly moved your way up to the beginning. How'd you do that?
Well, I went out in first 2 corners. I realized I kind of missed the setup, so I had to figure out where it would grab in the corners, and it took me a little bit to figure that out. Once I did, it's now just let it eat and go.
Now, is it your sons out there with you, the other Odettes, or is it other family members?
I got my oldest daughter. She's the Kraus, number 20. She got wrecked in the corner there.
Everything okay?
Yeah, it's all good. Well, it's just parts. We can fix it. And then I got my niece, the number 9. That's the Taylor Odette. And then my son is number 27. He drives, that's Hayden Odette.
That's awesome. So can you tell me, why is racing such a family-centered sport, do you think?
We've been here since we were little kids like these guys watching, coming and cheering our favorite drivers. Once we got behind a wheel, it was no looking back. Away we go. Our kids are in it now and just headed the right way.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations again, Chris. And he's got some hats here, and we'll give him a trophy out. So, got the trophy coming. All right, we've got Ricky Weiss here, winner of the Modifieds. How you feeling today, Ricky? Sorry for the feedback.
Good. Yeah, no, it was a good feature. Just, yeah, no, hats off to everybody working their butts off here, and we had a fun night, and just thanks to all my sponsors, my support, Travis, Jada, and Barry, everybody who comes down, and we'll just try again next Thursday.
All right, well, congratulations again. I'll see you next week.
Thanks, and just hats off to all the fans, and if you want any swag, come down to the trailer, throw the kids in the car, and get some candy.
All right, sounds good. You want to give this trophy out to one of the kids? All right. Thank you very much, Ricky.
Thanks.
All right, back to you, Wells.
Thank you, Dan. All right, folks, time for the final race of the night. It's the four-cylinder feature. We've got 11 vehicles in this one. Here's your projected starting lineup. All by herself in row number 6, the 98 of Emma Nelson out of St. Malo. On the outside of row 5, the 22K of Robin Knapp out of Balmoral, Manitoba. Anthony Bailey's on the inside, driving the 4A from West Pine Ridge. Maddock Mulholland is on the outside of row number 4, driving the 71 out of Winnipeg. Kiana Edison is on the inside, driving the 177 out of Kenora. On the outside of row 3, the 55 of Elijah Wall from Crystal City, Manitoba. Dustin Wout driving the 88W is on the inside, driving the 88W, excuse me. He's out of Winnipeg, Manitoba. Taylor Strong McCauley's on the outside of row 2, driving the 13M from Mitchell, Manitoba. Alex Farr is on the inside of row 2, driving the 25 from Landmark. And in your front row, the 21 of Courtney Alcock's on the outside out of Keewatin, Ontario. And on the inside, Will Alcock from Kenora, Ontario, driving number 24. Looks like we got a good battle for the lead, folks, between Alex Farr and Mulholland. This is for position, your new leader, Maddock Mulholland. Stick around till after this one, kids. We've got a few trophies to hand out to you guys. Here we go. This is going to be close. Let's hear it for your winner by about a quarter car length, Maddock Mulholland.
Give it up for Maddock Mulholland, everybody. Oh, Dave Kane. Oh, hi. Let's get that one. Sorry, I don't have that one with me. All right, Dave Kane, how you doing? Good, nice to meet you. Good, congrats on your win today. How you feeling?
Real good. I made the trip up here to Winnipeg to Paul's. He's been really great to me. And he let me drive his B-Mod, so I got to have a lot of fun tonight.
That's awesome. How often do you come up here to race?
This is the first time I've ever been here. I've only been in Winnipeg one other time.
Well, welcome, and I hope you come back.
Thank you.
Congrats again. You want to give out one of our trophies here? Give this one of the kids here. There we go. This guy right here. This guy right here with the red hat. Thank you.
Let me get a picture of him. Here, I'll do it.
I want a picture.
Oh, why is there two?
Okay. Next up, Paul Veer. Here's your oversized check, Paul. There you go. Congrats. How you feeling today about your win?
Great race, great track today.
Pretty good out there, hey?
Nice to see two of the 88 cars win today.
And we just made the rain, which is awesome too.
She predicted 9 o'clock. She's the owner.
Awesome, Paul. Thank you so much for being here. Let's give you a trophy to give away there. Awesome. That was nice and easy. And now, yeah. Let's get you up here. And finally, of course, we've got Maddock Mulholland here, winner of this 4-cylinder. How you doing, Maddock?
Not too bad.
Congratulations on your win. Can I ask you, why 4 cylinders? Why did you choose that one?
It's just a great entry class, so we it's the best class ever. Like, it's the best, closest racing. Who had the closest finish today? Like, by far. So, and it's definitely the cheapest. Like, if you look,
That's good reason.
if you look at the lap times, we're barely slower than the pure stocks, the limited stocks. Like, we're almost as fast and more fun.
That's awesome. Have you won before this season?
Yeah, I won a few times in this car this season. I also won in a B mod last weekend.
That's awesome. Congratulations, Maddie. Do you want to give a trophy away? Ollie's got the trophy for you. There we go. All the way to the back there. Here's your oversized check. And Ollie's got a sticker for you there. Congratulations. All right, everyone. Thank you very much. Back up to you, Wells.
Thank you, Dan. And like he said, thanks to each and every one of you wonderful fans, especially the hardcores staying all the way to the bitter end. We'll be back with more Thursday Night Thunder next week, August 13th. We hope to see you then. Take care, everybody.